Welcome. We are building an LGB garden railway. Today, more in the snow. In our last episode, we still had the wonderful sunshine, and today, Michael.
Yes, we were surprised. We were in good spirits. We sat in the front for 3 episodes. You can't see that now. There we sat on the ground laying tracks, already getting technical about whether it was a station track or not. And you're already looking at the screen, because we've taken the chance more often to get a little support. And indeed by Andreas Franz. We said we'd look for the absolute LGB garden railway experts, and that's when Andreas caught our eye. Hi Andreas, good to see you.
I wish you a very beautiful, wonderful good morning, Elke and Michael.
Greetings to Munich. Thank you very much. You've made yourself comfortable, and I also see a small garden railway along in your attic, right?
This is my hobby room up here with naturally LGB and many souvenirs of the railways here in the Harz, or in Switzerland, or in Austria.
You have followed our first 3 episodes a bit. We saw it in the meadow, back then still in the best sunshine. Now we can just see the snowflakes here on the side. We chatted a bit technically, saying that doing it with this grass and just laying the tracks is possible, but not a perfect idea. Or do you have some tips for us?
Yes. Garden railway to garden railway, meaning you're now outside in nature. And there you can certainly start in the lawn and build the first tracks there. That's how I did it 50 years ago, by simply laying the tracks in the grass there. After a week it needed mowing again, then a new track was built. But for something permanent, you need a solid foundation. That doesn't necessarily have to be the lawn. Just pick out some suitable stones that can be placed underneath. There are indeed concrete blocks available at the hardware store, which also feature curves at their respective ends. Perfect, Michael. Already set. Are suitable for straight stretches, but also for the radii you want to connect, from R1 to R5.
We can even dock here, then we can make a slight curve here. That's exactly how it is. That should work reasonably well. Tell me, we accidentally had them in your garden last time, Elke, because you were using them for your lawn edge.
I built the lawn edge there too, but I had some gravel under the stones, a bit flattened, the gravel, so that the stones wouldn't shift. Did you do it like that too, in your yard?
In the end, I would methodically excavate the ground to such a precise shovel depth. And then, they're either install building sand in the sandbox, or even better, consider using such a gravel granulate instead. If a road is being redone near you, in winter the construction sites, the holes, the frost holes are repaired, and then gravel granulate is sprinkled on top, grit, and it is particularly good because it hardens and solidifies. So maybe a bottom layer 20 centimeters deep with not topsoil but sand or this granulate, and then lay the stones on it.
You are the garden expert. I'm all thumbs and not a garden. That means when you say dig deep, then we're talking about sticking the spade in once like that, and then about a hand's depth in, that outside, and then this crushed stone. Knock firmly again, right? The earth with it. Best to walk across once.
Exactly. Walk over. Really nice like footprints, and then on top of that these concrete stones. However, the concrete blocks should not be flush with the topsoil around them, but rather stick out by 2 or 3 centimeters, so that the topsoil is not immediately washed away again during the next rain. So maybe just bury it halfway.
So you have already shopped well here for your lawn edge. We will need a few more of those. Andreas, I have a surprise for you, so a surprise for us, but you have to help us. We want you with us more in upcoming episodes because you need to help us. It would be great if you could build a track plan with us next episode, but not today. I have no idea what kind of radius that results in when you say here radius 1, radius 2, radius 3. I just saw that they somehow fit pretty exactly onto the rail width. Looks great indeed. So I truly believe we can work well on that. Okay, very nice. So tip number 1. I'll summarize that at this point. Andreas Franz just said she can lie in the grass. So indeed you initiated with it 50 years ago. It can also endure in wind and weather. I'll just say a quick word to our cameraman Fabian. Can you give the camera a quick look in the garden? We'd like to see the dreary weather we have here now. Look, this is everything here. We're doing this live on hard drive. We just show that directly on the hard drive. That means nothing is being cut here, but you see out there just what a quote-unquote mess we're having with the weather. Fabian, come back to us. Because you see, bad luck is also luck at the same time with LGB garden railways, because these rails, and especially the locomotives, can indeed withstand it, right? You've also had a great experience with it, I believe, right?
That's the great thing about LGB. I also hold my rail up. Mine doesn't look as beautiful as Olga, but is exactly identical to Olga. This is a rail that has been lying outside for 50 years, in the garden. Madness. Actually, it's not particularly shiny at present. However, you can indeed make them shiny again by... There's a cleaning kit before? Yes. Once it's tinted over a bit, then the rail will be shiny again. That means, weatherproof means, we need a track material that is absolutely weather resistant. We have a brass profile here. That conducts electricity very well. This is important because we drive electrically. And secondly, it is, shall I say, indestructible. You can read on the internet that you can destroy it with acid, but hardly anyone is going to spill acid on it. The second thing is the bed down here. More than 50 years ago, when LGB introduced these tracks, they actually borrowed an elephant from the Nuremberg Zoo and marched over it with an elephant. There are pictures where they drive over it with the car. Maybe not underground from the lawn, but in the end, if something like that on the... If the entrance is here, you can drive over it with the car. The rails are durable, 50 years old and still usable.
I've done that in the last few episodes. I walked over the circle. I don't know if you saw that, Andreas, just to say that it gives in a little bit. I was worried about bending them, but you say, driving over them with a tire, I'm not an elephant. Coming. I'll start here with the nose, with the long one. No, but you say they really don't bend that easily. No, indeed.
They are somewhat flexible, but in the end, it's ultimately the material that perfectly fits on the grandchildren. Very good.
You also have a locomotive. I like that you have an old one lying outside for a while at your place.
This is a locomotive turning 50 this year. Beautiful. The ones here, I see. One of the first locomotives that LGBT released. You've already handled it several times, the Steins. You both had it. Then came this cute, boxy locomotive with a bit of streetcar character. Yes. And this locomotive, actually 50 years old, is functioning in my garden outside. And I just don't want to say it merely looks like new, but that it's broken. You really can't talk about that. It means that at that time, the creators of LGB also gave some thought to how to construct a gearbox that is absolutely weatherproof. The locomotive has driven outside in snow, driven in rain. It has also stayed outside overnight and still does its duty today and is just as lovable as your stones in hand.
Look, I have it with me. Mine is still brand new. She has zero party vibes with you. This is still from the starter pack of our first episode, and it hasn't had to spend the night in the snow yet. No, but indeed we will deliberately leave them outside in the upcoming episodes, and then we will observe what it looks like at that point in time. She can also put on a bit of party navigation, but as you can see here, nothing has changed. So if you look at this down here again, you have these two current collectors here, plus and minus. And it looks the same from the edges, just like with you, only my locomotive driver keeps falling out all the time. He's a bit... Look, it's too cold there for him. I'll put this one here now. It still looks the same as back then. And I believe they have the same locomotive. Ah, this has fallen out here too. Here's also a locomotive. That's all they both have. They don't want to. It's continuous refusal to work here. It's cold today. Tell me, what did you do to her that she's so... Did you oil them in between or just blast them with steam? What did you do for it to bloom?
No problem putting them in the sink occasionally. If allowed by my wife, the supervisory authority, it's placed in the sink, doused with dish soap water, scrubbed with a brush, and cleaned. Okay, nothing can rust, because even the screws have now turned into rust-proof screws. That means nothing happens there. The transmission, as mentioned, where the engine sits and what's termed electronics here, is absolutely protected and waterproof. So she drives in the rain, and there are facilities in Germany operating 24 hours, not just 12, and that in snow, rain and all weather, just as in sunshine. So it is indeed a weatherproof railway.
Tell me, last time we still put a bit of steam distillate, steam oil in here. Would you then also take it out before it rains or snows, right? Can something happen there, or does it not matter?
I'd let her drive till she's out of steam. That's our achievement. If driving tomorrow appeals, no issue. But if you leave such a locomotive with me for 2 months without driving it, it indeed makes sense for it to run until the end, ensuring the steam distillate is completely gone. Go to the end.
I'll be right back. I'll get something real quick. We currently see you in the picture. But I saw something on the package. On the starter pack there was such a stone painted. And we bought one a bit in the farmhouse that was heavy for it. Gotta lug a bit. Might look nice right away. And indeed, we initially thought of this particular one, possibly as a tunnel, or perhaps as a shadow. Do you see that, Andreas? Yes, I can see that. I'm not saying shadow station, but as a parking spot for the locomotive. Good idea or nonsense?
Good idea. They're also known as U-blocks. The issue, not visible in the picture, at least in my case, is the lower round. This is now bent, perhaps even quite useful, so that moisture can indeed gather together on the left and right. I don't particularly like the stone that much because it's not flat on the bottom. We really need to knock some ice there. There are pure rest stones that really have 90-degree angles, and they might even be better suited for a tunnel you want to build, or for an outdoor storage group.
I'll try this now. Yes, it'll be tough, I believe, but click the rail to see if it takes off with the locomotive and the stone underneath. Let's see if we need to flex. I think I saw Elke's expression. While flexing, her angle was just a bit flexed away. That just absolutely fits. About just that, precisely speaking, indeed.
So it goes, but millimeters indeed. So they say you actually need precisely 22 centimeters in height to meet the standard. They say we have a folding ruler somewhere.
Yes, but... Yes, I thought exactly how... I believe that's 16 centimeters, right? Yes, from... Yes, that would be a bit tight for me. Good, yes. Then we can still a little bit... Or maybe the hardware store again.
Yes, we get the healing profile and U-stone profile. Yes, the stone's shape, really. And they are then even better suited. The same stones that you have here can indeed go in below. You can also work with larger panels on the station premises there. If you ever build a station now, then maybe I wouldn't take these small stones either, but rather just 50 by 50 stones, which then make up the entire width of the station. Top.
Great tip. Got the wrong stone, but no issue since we'll flex it away. Setting it aside now. Either we flex it away or we just go to the hardware store again and buy the U-block again. So, thanks for the tip. You're welcome. You can easily take that one down. But tell me, would you then put a little wooden door at the front and close it? Or would you leave it open? Or use it as a garage V-lock? Or more like a tunnel? What did you do?
So if I'm being completely honest, I like to bring my locomotives in the evening. Oh, very sweet. I really don't want them to somehow get legs. I am quite well known in the village for having a peculiar quirk with the railway system. In that respect, it is indeed known that there are also significantly larger values out there. I'm bringing them in. What you can certainly do, and I have done this, is have a longer tunnel. But it is open at both ends if you leave it open for a long time. So, for example, you have time to play with the train on the weekend. During the week you have to go to work. There are people who still have to go to work, not me anymore. I'm retired. Then it might be too moist in the tunnel for a week. If no air can pass through and you securely close off a tunnel at both the front and back ends, a noticeable amount of moisture will inevitably form. Then you have problems getting the train out when the tracks are all extremely very wet. Okay, therefore perhaps not exactly as a permanent parking group as it stands now. I'm actually leaving once again tomorrow. Yes, indeed.
Okay, let's try this out. We'll organize. So first of all, thank you very much for the tips. We'll organize that. So we have exactly the right things for that. Perfect. Then, in the upcoming episodes, we'll discuss how many tons of it we must carefully lift into your garden with the truck so that it then lies precisely beneath the track plan. I'm really excited. Then these U-blocks you say for the tunnel. Tunnel, Open at the bottom, exactly, that's where the stones would fit through. You say locomotives with a height of 22 cm would be a good size for you. That's what one would do. So to summarize, with the shovel 1 depth into the ground, at the bottom using sand or preferably gravel, did I understand that correctly?
Yes, like a basic shimmer, right? First tamp earth more, then place roll spit on top, followed by the stone so it won't shift.
And not to seal the stone at the front with grass, but leave about 2 cm so it doesn't immediately, with the first rain. Swims away, right?
Yes, very good. If you're heading to the hardware store, consider buying a spirit level if you lack one. Just like in the station area, rails must lie horizontally. So if you start building something there, it's annoying when you uncouple the locomotive and then the wagons roll away. Got the picture?
We have already seen in our first video. Our locomotive always nicely uncoupled in the curve and then said, well, goodbye, you little wagons. Goodbye, little wagons. Listen, Andreas, we're doing this now. We've built something right here. We actually wanted to do some crafting and wanted to take the opportunity here on the terrace. Now the sun is coming out a bit again. And aim to build a pendulum route because we have been circling and thought, then we can maybe build something nice here for the terrace. In fact, I've always harbored this vivid dream of a gin and tonic express that leisurely drives with little savory chips on either side. I can then leisurely lounge around here on your couch in the garden and then just like that, maybe down there on the terrace or something, perhaps out front. I think it's quite cool. Then comes the little cart and brings one over here in the evening. Of course, it can also be non-alcoholic, like orange juice or perhaps chamomile tea, depending on what you prefer. I've mentioned my choice of drinks. We've had a bit of it in the episode. We're going to put a lid on it for today. Just leave it for the next episode. Maybe set it aside. Then we'll see each other in the next video, in the next episode again. And then we'll build a little pendulum route there. We have organized everything that is needed. And Andreas, I would say, we'll bring you in when we get to the track planning, when it comes to here. You can't even say miniature wonderland, so it's not miniature at all. Here we will then plan it really nicely in the garden. That's exactly how we do it. And it's not miniature, it's to take your hands. This is solid, this stuff here, I can tell. Andreas, stay healthy. We'll see each other soon. See you then. See you soon. Thanks, Andreas. Goodbye. We're cleaning this up now. Next episode, we'll keep building a small pendulum track. Everything you need for that will also be linked again in the videos below in the description. And if you have any inspirations for our garden railway or want to send us photos, then feel free to link them in the comments below to any Instagram account or to a Facebook, whatever. Feel free to comment. We're excited about any inspiration as we're both beginners in garden railways, which promises a great experience. So, enjoy. Thanks.